Never in human history have we had more access to great books than we do now. We've never been able to access the great ideas and the great minds of the world as easily as we can today. But the sad part is we've never been worse readers of them as we are today. And the reason I'm making this video is because I see a lot of bad and unattainable advice on the internet about how to read. I see a lot of how to read more and how to read faster, which to me shouldn't be the point of reading. And I see almost no one talking about becoming the person who is capable of reading, which to me seems to be the bigger problem. There's too much preaching of optimization and not enough talk about formation. Because in 2026, the problem isn't finding what to read, and it shouldn't be how to read more or how to read faster, but it's becoming the type of person who is capable of reading. With that said, I want to talk about 7 habits that will help you become the type of person who is capable of reading great literature. And before we dive into these habits, I would like to mention that in the link in the description, and it should be in the comments below as well, there is a link to a community that I've made for lovers of literature. It's a community where we can talk about our books and just kind of nerd out about books and literature in general. Go ahead and get your spot now. And yeah, let's dive back into habit 1. Habit 1, slow down. Here's the thing. Being able to say that you read 100 books in 1 year is sexy, and people will generally be impressed. But that's about the only function it serves. If you're anything like me, you're searching for depth and understanding in the books that we choose to read. You, like I do, want to read books that will change you, books that give you perspective and beauty and emotional response, books that live with you forever and alter how you view the world. And the truth about these books is you cannot speed read them, nor should you want to. Great literature resists efficiency. So slow down. Don't rush to the final page. Live with the characters and the ideas within the book. Who cares if it takes months to finish it? Let's no longer put importance on hitting our quantitative reading goals. Instead, let us rejoice at the idea that we took our time with a great book and that we understand it. Habit 2, reread. Here's the thing about great literature. We are never done reading it. When you hit the final page, of course, be proud of yourself. Feel the emotion swell up in your soul. But remind yourself that the final page is irrelevant. We've all probably heard the saying by now, but it's worth reiterating. We never step in the same river twice. We are always changing, experiencing new things in life, maturing and developing. And as we grow and come to revisit a text we've read maybe years before, the words on that page will be different. They will hold new meaning and give you new understanding. And so let's make it a habit to revisit texts we've already read. That doesn't necessarily mean rereading the whole book from start to finish, but constantly be flipping back to your favorite passages, your underlines, your marginalia, the chapters that stuck out to you. And of course, we should be fully rereading books too, but I just wanted to make it clear that it's not entirely what it consists of. Maybe make it a goal to reread 2 to 3 books a year. Some of you, like I was, may be averse to fully rereading a book. Speaking for myself, I used to have the mindset of, why read something I already read? Wouldn't that be repetitive and boring? Especially since there is already so many great texts to be read. Why waste time rereading? But I'll give you a little reframe that helped me when I was under this impression. Reading a great book for the first time should be like an entrance into the world, into the characters and the ideas. While rereading is where you get the privilege of cementing and understanding those elements of the text. It's more rewarding to reread because that's when you have just enough knowledge of the text to grapple with it, to analyze it, and to eternalize it. Great literature that has stood the test of time is always worth rereading. Habit 3, read secondary sources. I personally find reading secondary sources about a great piece of literature to be one of the best ways to understand a text. For example, when I read War and Peace and Anna Karenina by Tolstoy, I read a biography on Tolstoy so I can know more about his beliefs and about what circumstances he was under while writing these texts. I read many different literary criticisms on the text so I could understand different elements of that text. I read about the circumstances and political turmoil that was going on in 19th century Russia during the time Tolstoy was writing. So how do you find credible secondary sources? There are many ways to find credible secondary sources, but my main method is I check if the primary text has a section usually titled suggestions for further reading, which basically all of the Penguin classics have them. Once I have the credible secondary source, which will most likely be a biography or a piece of literary criticism, there will be a bibliography at the end of the book, which will sometimes hold enough books to last you a lifetime. The important thing is to do your research and importantly, let yourself go down rabbit holes. Habit 4, read what you're interested in. The truth about reading classic literature is most people aren't really interested in the act of reading a book for hours and hours on end. They're interested in having read a fancy title in classic literature. So be honest with yourself and don't force yourself to read a book you're not truly interested in, even if the world is screaming at you to read it. Follow your curiosity and immerse yourself in it, and you'll eventually find that once you love to read, you'll want to grow as a reader. And once you want to grow as a reader, you'll read more challenging books you once thought you'd never be capable of reading. Habit 5, always have a pen next to you. While reading a piece of great literature, we should be engaging with the author and the text. This means having a pen or a pencil with you all the time. I personally love the Muji pens. I have the 0.38 ones. They're perfect for marginalia and annotating. I think you could buy like a bunch of them for very cheap off Amazon. I'd highly recommend those. And there really isn't one right way to do annotation or marginalia. It's really just a matter of what works for you. But keeping your books nice and neat with no scribbles or dog-eared pages is no way to read great literature. My annotating process is fairly simple. I mostly just underline the things that stand out to me, and I have some like symbols that I'll use. Like I'll use an exclamation point for a passage that just gave me a very sublime feeling, and I'll use other symbols to that mean other things to me. So when I flip back through the book, I know what I was thinking. Sometimes I'll even write a sentence or two, or even just a word that helps me understand what I was thinking when I flip back to it. Because doing marginalia is also very helpful while you reread. You can go back into the text and revisit your marginalia, so it's easy to reference and to remind yourself of. Habit 6, don't confuse difficulty with failure. Reading great literature at times can be immensely difficult. Your brain will hurt and you will want to chuck your book at the wall sometimes. But it's worth reminding yourself in these moments that difficulty always shows up right before understanding. And we must accept that just because something is hard, it does not mean we are failing. Again, difficulty is the moment before understanding. And if we embrace the difficulty and if we welcome it and look at it straight in the face and say, I will overcome you, this is when we reap the rewards of reading great literature, and is when we strengthen our character and prove to ourselves that we are resilient and we can do hard things. We will come across difficult themes and our beliefs will be challenged, but we welcome this because that is why we read great literature, for our self-image and our beliefs to be challenged and for our flaws to be confronted. So let us remind ourselves to choose truth over comfort. It will be difficult, but again, that is the point. Habit 7, practice patience. The beautiful thing about great literature versus something like a modern day self-help book is that great pieces of literature unfold and often withhold meaning because we are so used to things being delivered to us instantly. We expect a TikTok video to deliver something to us within 20 seconds, or else we'll click off and find something that will. We are so used to things being handed to us, so used to being prescribed things that will temporarily improve our lives, that we've lost the ability to think for ourselves, to dig for the truth. We cannot carry this destructive habit over to reading great literature. The great books demand patience and we must practice it. Some helpful tips I can give is to monitor what we're saying to ourselves while reading. If we catch ourselves saying things like, I don't get it, or what's the point of this, or this could have been shorter, remind yourself that you are not watching a social media content, because content delivers and great literature unfolds and makes us work for the truth. All right, everyone, that will do it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate you guys if you made it to the end. And yeah, make sure to subscribe and check out the community that will be linked in the description below. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.